Hi, everybody. We have Paul today from Inspect the Best. Hi, Paul. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for
Could
having me.
you please explain to our audience your name, your company name, and your title, please?
Sure. My name is Paul Van Engen. I am the owner of Inspect the Best Wisconsin, home inspection services located out of Germantown, Wisconsin.
Wow. How long have you been in this career?
So I'm just about to start my 6th year. So I started, unfortunately, right when COVID hit.
Oh, wow.
But good time to start your own business. But no, made it through that and have been going on ever since.
Wow. So did you just start right off the bat your own business, or were you working somewhere else first?
Yep. So I used to own my own handyman business.
Okay.
I ran that for about 5 years before opening my home inspection business. It got to the point where I would struggle to find employees. Finding work wasn't a problem, but finding employees and retaining employees and that kind of a headache. But I wanted to stay in something kind of similar, something I could
For
use my
sure.
background and go on. So did all my studying and coursework and stuff like that and became a home inspector and opened my business on April Fool's Day of 2020.
Wow. That's amazing. How did you get into the handyman business?
So I had a couple other jobs throughout the years, corporate jobs and things like that. And I've always been interested in the construction side of things and doing my own projects and home improvements and stuff like that. And I worked for a government job and our budgets got cut and things like that. And I was like, oh, I need to find something that I can do. And well, I've always done this. I've got all the tools, I got the knowledge. So I just decided to take that leap of faith, start my own business on that end. So that's how I got to there.
And when did you realize that business is what you want to do and no longer a corporate 9 to 5 job? And it's where I feel people don't understand that business is a great thing. And how did you come up with that? You from
I guess going through jobs, I went to college, got my 4-year college degree, worked my way up the corporate ladder and on and on. And it was just, I got to the point, part of it was me that I've done this before. How much farther can I go without, I'm getting to the point where unless I own my own business, I'm going to be stuck where I'm at. And then going through job layoffs and stuff, I thought, well, maybe this is the time. I got the experience. I've been running different functions of businesses, got experience in all aspects of running a business. Maybe I'm able to do this on my own. It's always scary, but that's kind of how one thing led to another and I got into it.
Nice. Did you have to get any specific certification, any licensing to get into this business of
So
inspection?
for home inspectors, state of Wisconsin requires you to have a state license and a national license. So I went through, I think it took me, probably I want to say 4 to 6 months of this solid studying, sitting at a desk and studying.
Oh, wow.
The book I started with was having like, how am I ever going to get through this thing? But thankfully I had some prior knowledge of some of that stuff in construction, things that way. But yes, I think it's about half the states in the United States, you don't have to be licensed. So you can just become a home inspector and do your own thing. Wisconsin requires both. So I had to do a state test and then a national test where you go in and they proctor it and you're sitting in front of a camera like this and in front of you and you just sit there and they give you a pencil and the town.
Oh, wow. Book makes me feel nervous already hearing that. Do you feel like ever giving up on that part, looking at the book and on the education
At the
side?
beginning, yes. Like I said, it was daunting looking at the size of the book and it's like, how am I ever going to get through all this stuff? But it break it down very good. But it goes through like the roofing section, plumbing, electrical, HVAC, and it really guides you through. And some things I was stronger at and some I wasn't. And a lot of it was online and you go through and you do some testing. It gives you your score, right? And it's a little weak in that one. I should go back and redo that section of it. And the other one's like, I think I pretty much know what I'm talking about here.
Got it. Well, we are happy you are here.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
What made you get into home inspection? Was it passion, money, or something else?
A little bit of passion, I would say. Always kind of with things. Always enjoyed building and construction, how things work. Always been interested in, as a little kid, as to, unfortunately, taking things apart. I probably shouldn't have taken apart, and not necessarily knowing how to get them back together. No, that I just something I really like, and just even now, I'm in this building. I'm walking in like see that. Just different, and not things right or wrong. It's the type of shingles they have in there. That's the type of siding they have
It's
on there.
just your.
I guess it's a little bit of the way I'm wired now. I guess.
I hear you. You said building. Did you builder at any part of your
No, I
life?
never got that deep
Okay.
into it. It was just the handyman side of it, and we did a lot of got to be licensed plumber and electrician. We weren't, but it was still able to do some things and working with some guys that were licensed and understanding. You don't know how this works, explain it to me. And I've always been kind of in that as to watching how they do things and okay, afraid to ask questions.
Yeah.
Still today, I know I don't know everything, and I'm always
You're
willing to
learning
ask
every
questions.
day.
And it's in this profession, it's constant learning and continuing education. So I'm
For
always
sure.
studying. I'm always going to meetings. I'm always looking at stuff online. So
When you mentioned continuing education, do you have that for an inspector?
yeah, we have to do so many hours per year
Okay.
in order to keep up our registration and our license.
Got it. Good. What's the most disastrous first time inspection experience you have had?
So this is kind of hopefully we're going to get into this during this interview that
Yeah.
had some, and it wasn't more me. I think I'm pretty comfortable knowing what I'm talking about, but I've had some experiences with people who have bought in homes and then called me after the fact, and I go in. I did this. The one sad story is I had a couple from Ohio. They moved here, like you put an offer on a home. We couldn't do a contingency. Can you still come tell us what's wrong with it?
Yeah.
And I encourage people to do that. I understand how the market is right now, and
Yeah.
I always encourage people. I say that's the biggest thing you're ever going to buy in life, at least
Yes,
my income
no,
bracket.
that is so true.
So whether you're going to inspect it before or after, if it was me, I still want to know what I have. So anyway, getting back to that story, it was a couple from Ohio. Go there, inspect the home. I got there before they did. They were in the moving process. They were actually driving to the home. I had some stuff on the outside of the deck, and unfortunately, the sellers just painted over some deck boards, and they were all rotted. I literally climbed up a ladder to a second floor balcony, and I jumped down, and I almost went through.
Oh no.
Anyway, so there was that. Then I got inside, and your mechanical room where the furnace and water heater and all that stuff. The walls were like soaking wet, but I could, if I wanted to, I'd put my hand right through a wall. It was all wet and soggy and moldy, and I'm like, oh. And then a couple shows up. I'm like, what do you got going on? I'm like,
Did not see it because
no, they
I
were
was
moving
hearing.
from Ohio. They saw it
Okay.
online, and that was it. And
Can we say that was a part of the realtor's fault?
you can, right?
Yeah,
It's a problem. It always gets into finger pointing. Who should know and who didn't know. And it's unfortunate that it was the situation. And I had the mom was standing there with a little child in her arms, and she's in tears, and she's like, "Would you?" Can't ever tell anybody should you buy this home or not. They already had purchased a home,
Right.
but it said it was me. I have kids. I'm not moving in here.
Yeah.
Not yet anyway.
Yeah.
And she's in tears, and the moving semi's out in front of the house, and I'm
Right.
like, you can do what you want. It's your home, but unfortunately, I am the bearer of bad news a lot of times.
I
So
hear you. Would you say that the realtor could have done a better job and not, assuming whoever the realtor was went through it because all they thought about was money and
yeah, part of it, but I also look that it's not differently trained than you are, right? I mean, you got the plumbing, electrical, all that stuff. You're looking at the bones in the structure, and is this a good fit for my customer? They're moving. Can we get them in? Closing dates and all that, and price and all that good stuff. Where you're not. That's yes. Could that realtor possibly have saw some stuff? But again, it to me it was more of the seller. They had to know something was going on.
got it.
Right? Yeah, it gets into finger pointing, but to me, it always comes down. Somebody lived here for years before. They had to know something was going on.
Right, and how could they not disclose
Right.
that? That's, yeah. Have you ever felt like quitting this job? If yes, why?
I don't think my wife would let me quit right
now. Oh, no.
Truthfully, no. I have times where it's the roller coaster ride where some days I'm extremely, or some days and weeks I'm extremely busy, and other days like I don't even know if my phone works right now.
No.
That's the hard part of it. It's the roller coaster ride. But as far as what I do for a living, I love what I do for a living.
That's amazing.
Enjoy every day. Every home is different,
For
right?
sure.
So I never know what I'm walking into. I still get butterflies in my stomach every time I'm walking into a house.
Wow.
I don't know why. It's just, I'm pretty sure I know what I'm talking about, but it's like if I run into something that I don't know what I'm talking about. And so I honestly love what I'm doing.
That's amazing. And you cannot love what you are doing if you're in a business.
Right.
Yeah, goes there. Home inspector and real estate agent who buddied in some cases.
Yep.
Explain it.
That's part of it, right? And I get it. That's part of my struggle too. And constantly, when days when I don't have things going on, I'm either doing social media posts to try to draw some attention to me, to my business, or do some. And this is a part of the job that I don't like is cold calling. I know it's part of it, and I go knock on realtor doors and like, I know
realtor's door.
Yep.
Oh wow.
I know you have inspectors that you use, and it's a comfort level, right? I understand why they do it. Sometimes I tell people like recommending you go to this inspector. Why are they going recommend you going to the inspector? Are they going to gloss over things to make sure the deal goes through, or do you want somebody who's going to give your honest opinion? And we always get the rap of deal breakers, right? Sure. And it's I always tell people it's I don't break the deal. It's the house that breaks the deal, right?
Exactly.
All I'm doing is showing it to you or pointing it out. Yeah. So it's already there existing. Like I said before, sometimes I'm the bearer of bad news, but tell my customers that everything can be fixed. Sure. I've not ever been in a house that can't be fixed. It's a matter of budget, taste, what you want to do, negotiation. There's a lot of factors that go into it, but we sometimes get that stigma that we're the deal breakers. But getting back to your question, yeah, there are some times where it's like, okay, love to help this realtor out, but they have their inspectors, right? And I get it. And that's what I'm trying to do too. I'm trying to become every realtor's inspector, and it doesn't happen that way, unfortunately.
Well, fingers crossed. Tell us more about your door knocking on realtors' door. Like, how's that been going?
So, kind of a direct mail piece, right? They say you get like 3% back a business. So, and a lot of times it's that, but it's that repetitive kind of to build a relationship, right? It's scary. I don't like doing it. It's like, okay, do a Google map and it's like, okay, it's in this area, and it's okay, grab some business cards, grab some flyers, you go in, and 90 times you don't get to see anybody other than a receptionist. But it's like, hey, I have a form letter. It's like, I know you have inspectors. If they're not available, if something goes wrong, if I can help you, I'd love to help you, even if it's just calling to ask me a question. Yeah. It's not necessarily I'd love to do an inspection for you, but if it's, hey, Paul, what I have realtors that do that now. They'll text me what a picture is. Hey, what is this?
Really?
Yeah, this is what I think it is. Sometimes like not there. This is what I think it is. Yeah. I always can refer back, hey, get a licensed plumber, licensed electrician, or whatever. But this is my opinion. This is what I think is going on. Kind of try to help them out a little bit in that realm.
Got it. Yeah. Have you ever tried like going to brokerages, like location, and be like, "Hi, I'm an inspector. Just wanted to stop by to give you."
Yeah, a little bit. Not as much. It's to me, it's more the realtor type that I get to. They're the kind of ones that are the face of the customer, right?
For sure,
they're seeing those customers. So that's kind of my focus has been on.
Got it. Very well. Real estate agent ever tried to bribe or influence inspectors?
Haven't had that yet.
Okay.
Yeah, there are like courses that we take, and there are rules that we all are supposed to be playing by. Okay. I've heard stories where things happen, and I don't think there's anybody giving any kickbacks or then using them as their inspector, right?
Understood.
I haven't heard of anybody being under the table or anything like that. I don't think it gets into that, but there are ways to form different relationships. Unfortunately, some people cut corners, but I don't think I've done that yet. Okay. I don't plan on ever doing that yet, but I'm sure it does exist.
Got it. Okay. What's the biggest scam in home inspection industry?
Biggest scam?
Yeah.
I don't know if I have an answer to that.
That's okay. We can skip on the question.
I'm just trying to think of biggest scam. Well, so there are home inspectors that'll do the low cost inspections, right? Okay. They're all trying to make a living in, but there are some you'll see the bargain basement prices, and I always tell people, you get what you pay for. Sure. You research, figure out who you're going to. We talked about this before. It's the biggest investment you're probably ever going to make in your life. So do you really want to cut a corner and go with the 99 guy? Pride myself. God, I don't even think there's I think like 49 now. One is the lowest I've seen. Oh, wow. Know what training I've been through and how long it took me to get here, and I know all my expenses and how much it cost me to do things. Yeah. I'm a certified master inspector. I've been through that process to get my master's license. Can you get somebody to do it for a lot cheaper? Yeah, I'm not the cheapest guy. I know there's somebody cheaper, right? But that's what you run into, and get back, $100. Are you really willing to take that risk on a home? Yeah. Still rolling?
Yes.
Good.
Exactly does a home inspector look for during an inspection?
Yeah, they always tell us that, I can't remember, it's the number on it, but it's thousands of things. Yeah, right? For sure. So if you think of your home, everything that's involved, my process is I get there, I get to get up on the roof. In winter time, so sometimes that's not possible. I do have a drone that I can fly. I do have an extended camera on a pole that I can shoot up 35 feet to take a look at things. To me, getting eyes and feet up there, you can see a lot. So I start there, like flashings, chimneys, things like that. I'm looking at, on the outside, I'm looking at siding, doors, windows, sidewalks, driveways, garage doors, electricity, plumbing,
Wow.
all that stuff. And then that's just the outside of the house. You got all your mechanicals, your HVAC systems,
Yep.
heaters, doors, windows. I use infrared cameras on all my inspections as well.
Wow.
So I'm looking for air leaks, water leaks, gaps and voids in insulation, just that things you can't see with a naked eye by looking around.
Yeah.
Yeah, they always say there's looking at thousands of things. So at the end, I'm going to give you a nice report. It's going to be a PDF, but there's going to be, I'll always kind of freak out. It's helping my customers, hey, it's going to be at least 50, 60 pages long.
Yeah.
Panic. I put everything from the types of doors, windows, floors in there, pictures stretched out, descriptions stretched out. So don't freak out that it's that long. They're all that long.
For sure. And how do you remember all that? Like my biggest
Yeah.
curiosity.
Yeah.
You're looking, and it's not like you're writing as soon as you saw this. Okay, this is this window. It's not like you're writing it somewhere down. It's all in your brain, and then you go back to your office or wherever, and then you type it out.
Yep.
How do you remember?
So a lot of it I can do on my phone. I have a program that I can scroll through, and it's like, all right, there's a window and there's some rot around the window. I scroll down, see whose window, location is it, where it is. But then I'm taking pictures, I'm taking notes. A lot of times I'll just dictate notes on my phone that, hey, I'm looking at this. This is what I'm seeing right now. So then I get back to my office and I photo dump everything back in, go through my notes, and then start writing. So it's not just, I had somebody the other day saying, hey, we're here for 2 hours and this is what you charge. You got a pretty good business going. I'm like, you didn't see the half an hour of prep work that I did, the hour I had to drive here, the hour I had to drive back, the hour or two that I'm writing a report.
It's more than an hour or two, to be honest, to write the report. Yeah. Wow.
So yeah, it's get into it. So it's a lot of picture taking, and then that's one of the first things I tell customers to get inside. I'm going to take a ton of pictures. Yeah. Because I'm taking a picture, don't assume it's something wrong with the house.
Exactly.
A lot of it is for my knowledge, so when I get back to my office, I remember what I'm looking at.
For sure.
Yep.
Good. Okay. How often should homeowner get their home inspected, even if they aren't selling?
On what you do for maintenance on your home.
Okay.
And if you have any projects that you do on your home, all the DIY stuff.
For sure.
If you're doing any of that, I always encourage people to get pull permits, hire licensed contractors, but I do all my own work on my own house.
I don't want to see anything right now.
I know, I get it, but I encourage people. That's great. If you can do that, it's a cost savings and things like that, and you can do things like that, and you're allowed to do it. Every time you do something, somebody in that knows what you're talking about, whether it's a home inspector,
people or whatever. Okay. Home fail an inspection. What happens if it does?
So that's one of the common myths that, there we go. We'll get back to, I should have brought that one up. So there is no pass fail.
Yes.
Don't give letter grades. There's no ABC. There's no pass fail. All it is a condition report. It's my surveillance of the little snapshot in time that a couple hours that I'm there, this is what I'm seeing. I always say the inspection report is good from the time I'm on site until the time I'm off site.
Yep.
Because I don't know what's going on when I'm not there. I could drive away. Somebody could come in, move, do something to the house. I don't know what happened. Getting back to your question, there is no pass fail. There's no database that my inspection report goes into that somebody can look up down the line. Hey, this failed in 2004. This thing failed in inspection. No, it doesn't.
So it's not, okay, guys? Because we have a lot of homeowners out there just freaking out. Oh my God, I have tons of issue. I don't want to buy this, or I do not want to go further with this.
Correct.
But it's not the case.
Yep. Yeah, and legally, I cannot. I just got an inspection today, and right when I was done, this buyer's like, would you buy this house? I'm like, can't answer that question. Yeah. Well, if your son was going to buy this house, would you let him buy this house? I'm like, I can't answer that or that either. I cannot influence you. I can tell you what I see, what's going on, but I cannot tell you yes or no. Because the problem is if I say, hey, don't buy this house, you're going to be upset because, hey, you just told my customer not to buy this house. Exactly. So no, I just the bystander, I tell you the condition of the house. It's completely up to you to what you feel is important and if you should buy the house.
And the biggest thing out there is that we are just resource. You guys out there. So it's not like we are trying to tell you, okay, not do this, but we're just a resource. That's all I have to say.
Yep.
What's the biggest misconception people have about inspection?
There's a couple little things. I get a lot of questions as to, well, is this house overpriced?
Yeah.
Am I paying too much for this house?
Yeah.
I don't have a clue how much a house costs.
Exactly.
I don't look at that when I come on site. I don't look at it. I have no idea what that house is worth. I don't. It's all comparison, right? And what it takes one buyer to set the market price.
Yeah.
And I don't know what this house compared to that house, what the value is. I'm not in the market to buy a house right now, so I don't know what's going on. But I get that all the time when, hey, would you buy this house, or is it overpriced? What's it worth? How much does this cost? It's not that I don't do that for a living. I have no idea.
Yeah, got it. What is radon, and why should homeowner be concerned about it?
Yep. So unfortunately, Southeast Wisconsin is a high concentrated area for radon.
Okay.
It comes from the Earth's core. Comes from radium, right? It permeates in the earth, and what it does, they call it a burp effect.
Okay.
What it wants to do is it gets squeezed in Earth's core, and it wants to push up that gas to get out.
Got it.
So what it's doing is it naturally raises up. Unfortunately, with homes, you have your open septic cracks, you have your drain tile going around your house, any cracks in the foundation. It's the path of resistance. It wants to push up through those cracks.
Yes.
So what it does, it's an odorless, tasteless gas that gets into your house. It's the #2 cause of lung cancer in the United States.
Okay.
As many people as leukemia does in a year.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you know it, and it's hard to prove, right? I mean, the example is that, hey, and he never got lung cancer. Okay, I get radon might not ever give you lung cancer either, but it could.
Yeah.
Right? Are you willing to take that cost? I radon tests, right? I have machines that so I usually do them separate, but I also will do them during some real estate transaction. I did one this morning. So it's a 48-hour test.
Okay.
So my home, and I'll come in, I set up a machine. I always tell people it's about the size of a loaf of bread. It doesn't make any noise. You won't even know it's there. I set it up in the basement. It runs for 48 hours. And what it's doing is it's taking an air sample once an hour, every 48 hours. I come back, I pull my machine. It gives me a reading of what the radon reading for that house is.
Got it.
It used to be, it's off of picocuries is the reading for radon.
Okay.
It used to be the standard, anything above that, but I don't know when it got lowered, but it's now down to 4.
Oh,
so
that's a huge jump.
Yeah, 4 is the magic number.
Okay.
I'll my reading, give it back to you. You'll get a nice report. It's like what it is. Above 4, I recommend that you have a mitigation system put in. So generally what they'll do in a mitigation system, I'm a licensed tester, I'm not a mitigator. They'll come in and they'll hook up a fan to your drain tile through your sump pump crack.
Okay.
They'll put a big fan on the outside of the house, and what it's doing is it's creating, I don't remember if it's negative or positive pressure, but it's pulling that radon gas through your drain tile, through your sump pump crack, and out to the outside. So instead of it burping into your house, it's pulling it and pushing it outside, so you're not breathing that radon gas in.
So, couple questions. First, when you say that it's gonna pull it from the ground and push it outside the home, what are the chances, like somebody who is outside, or gas travels in the air, and somebody inhaled it? So, what does that look like, or is that even a case or not?
So I mean, being outside, it's impure, right? So who knows what you're breathing?
Exactly.
But that case, it dissipate, right? So you get it out there, and it's gonna dissipate and break up and go on, and it's naturally gonna rise.
Okay.
Problem within a house, your foundation, so you have your 4 walls, you have your or your floor from your first floor, it's holding it in there. It wants to get out, but all it is going to contain it and hold it in there. So now instead of walking through maybe a small cloud of it, you're in it.
That's a huge. Okay. Yeah. Okay. What mold, and how can it affect a home's livability?
Yep. So I do mold quality testing, and what I'm doing is I'm testing for different things, different types of mold. I do it 2 different ways. That I do a swab sample, looks like a big Q-tip, take a sample of it. So that is anything that's visual. So I get into a house, or somebody will call me like, hey, I got this little area in my house that doesn't look quite right, where I can do a surface test.
Okay.
What I do is I take a swab sample of that, I seal it up, I send it into a lab, they analyze it, look under a microscope, they'll do a spore count, and then they come back and be like, hey, this is what it is, this is the types of mold that it is, and tell me what causes. Does it cause respiratory disease? Does it cause lung cancer? Does it cause asthma? Can cause, and at that point, it's like, it comes back positive, we got to find somebody in here to get this cleaned up. People say, hey, water.
No,
that doesn't work.
Exactly.
Mold's on water. So bleach, what you're doing is you're actually feeding it. So you'll get some of it off with the bleach, but now you just introduce more water into it, so which is going to help it grow. So the other thing I do is I do air quality testing.
Okay.
where people call me like, hey, I don't know if it's allergies or a runny nose constantly. I thought it was a cold, but it's just not going away. I've been to this doctors and we can't find a cure for it. What's going on? So I'll come in. I have little vacuum pumps that I'll set uh, strategically at the house. I always take an outside sample of it. Okay, this is your norm. This is what's normal for your area. But then I do throughout the home take air samples, similar process, send it into a lab. What those samples are, they go into a little cartridge and it's got like a tape onto it, and it'll pull the air through that, and any of the mold spores will stick to that.
Okay.
So then they look under a microscope. Okay, this is the same process. This is the type of mold. This is what it can cause. These are how many spore count that you got. So at that point, then if it comes back as a positive test, we find some mitigators that come in and be like, hey, this is the type of mold we found. This is where we found it. We need to get in there, clean it up, get it out of there. And a lot of times they'll go in either with their chemicals. A lot of times they'll use dry ice to kill it, and hopefully clean up your home. I always recommend, hey, you had this, maybe call me back at the end to make sure that they got it all. Make sure you pre and post test. Make whether it's me or somebody else, or if it's a mitigator, make sure they test it to make sure, they see anything, but what's floating around in there, and make sure that they got it all out of there.
When you talk about air test, would something you provide as your service just alone as a test, or do you have to include it with something else?
Yeah, so on the real estate world, I cannot test for mold on a common real estate transaction unless it's marked in the offer to purchase.
Okay.
So that's marked in there because technically they call it that I'm removing something.
Yeah.
So I can't remove anything.
Right.
So if that's in your offer to purchase, I can do it.
Okay.
But a lot of times it's not.
Okay.
And then what I'll do is I'm looking for during my inspections.
Right.
And I'm like,
so you'll just put it
hey, Mrs. Customer, I see this. I can't call it mold legally because I didn't test for it for mold. So I could say, hey, that's mold, because if I test and it's not mold, hey, well, you told me it was mold. Okay, no, this is mold. I recommend you getting it tested, whether it's me or somebody else. Then at that point, I'll come back. Go back to the seller and be like, hey, my inspector thinks that they found mold in there. You mind if we test it?
Right.
And at that point, if they say yes, I come back and test it. If not, again, I have to wait until after the fact.
Right.
But I do offer it as a side service. I calls all the time. Hey, I was at the doctor and multiple times. I got this.
Right.
These
That's
going
what I
on.
was getting at. How much would that cost on an average?
Yep. So a sample, you're looking at $150 per sample.
Okay. What the air quality?
Yeah, air test. So it's $325. Your outside baseline test, and then 2 areas on the inside.
Okay.
Each individual, if I have to do more, but I know, I'm like, okay, this is your base. This is what I'm going to give you. If I find other areas and the house is bigger than I thought, and in the attic, and I think we should do one up there as well, this is what it's going to cost you. It's completely up to you. There's no hidden costs up front. This is your baseline. But we should do some more, but it's completely up to you if you want to do it.
Got it. And are you ever scared you are going into all these homes, which is having radon, mold, or the air quality stuff? Like, are you not scared for your life?
It does cross my mind once in a while. But if I go into like a situation, I'm two things. I'm generally not in there that long, or I have respirators that I wear and PPE stuff and things like that. That if I open up an attic scuttle hatch and it's like, whoa, I'm going in there. So on the PPE stuff and make sure I'm okay. The thing, but I'm in the basement for 20 minutes, an hour or something like that, and I'm constantly moving and things out. So
half an hour in a day, let's say 4 times.
Yeah.
So that's 2 hours every day.
Agree.
So okay.
Forgive me the scare tactic.
No, you're not meant it that way. No, not at all. I just was curious into knowing, because I am scared for you. So
No, it does cross my mind once in a while. No, I get it.
The signs of foundation problem homeowners should look for.
The thing is cracks.
Okay.
All cracks are issues, right? So different types of foundations. There's foundation and your poured concrete. They're the biggest two that you see. There are different ones, but what I tell people is all concrete cracks. Yeah. Right. Maybe sooner or later it's going to crack. For sure. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a structural problem. Okay. What you're looking for is displacement, whether you got to shift one way or another, and look on the floor. If you see a big dust pile on the floor, that tells me that the wall is moving one way or another, and it's rubbing against each other, and now we have a foundation issue because it's moving. You also look from the side views, and we use levels, things like that. If there's horizontal movement, things like that are horizontal movement is generally a foundational issue, right? But if it's a vertical crack, yeah, you fix those, and it's not necessarily structural. Can be, yeah, absolutely. But there's to it than looking, hey, there's a crack right there. Because I've been in plenty of new homes, like, yeah, crack right there, and like, well, there shouldn't be a crack in concrete. I'm like, yeah, cracks. That's what it does.
Even our home we bought 2 years ago, it's a new construction, and there's crack in like the foundation, and we go like, okay, there's crack. Is everything okay? And they're like, yeah, we did it on purpose.
Yep.
Like, okay,
Do relief cuts to make that, because that's where they want it to crack.
Got it. So yeah, just give me a minute.
Yep. Did it stop?
No, it's working. It's just that I heard a beep on it.
Okay.
We're talking, so I have 2 cameras all the time. Can I get you anything?
No, I'm good. Thank you, though.
Okay. What's the most common issue you find with HVAC system during inspection?
Couple things. So the couple things I generally find is lack of maintenance. Right? Yeah. But it is it's a thing in your house, and people are like, hey, it works. I'm getting heat. I'm getting air, or must work, and it must be fine. Yeah, well, the times it is, but it's like a car. I always tell people that you change oil in your car, you put gas in, things like that. Yeah. Just it's in your basement, and doesn't mean that you shouldn't maintain it.
For sure.
I always have people have it tuned up every year. Come in, have them clean it out, because it's filters, right? Make sure you're on that regular schedule of clean filters all the time. But you're doing that, a lot of times dirt and stuff can get through, and it's getting sucked into your furnace, and it's clogging down, and it's making your furnace hard to breathe, or making it hard for your furnace to breathe.
Question for you. So we have an Ecobee for our thermostat, and it's going on and off by itself from the last 2 weeks now. We cannot figure out why. It keeps saying there's something wrong with it, so it's rebooting by itself. We're like, okay, and do have a basement company currently finishing our basement. Okay. So do you think they might have broken something? Do you think it's just the dust from all the construction down there?
A lot of times it's dust. Okay. I mean, I don't encourage you to do this, but if you ever open your furnace, it's computerized now. Okay. So there's a lot of computer chips and things in there, and dust, dirt gets in there, things down. Sometimes, one thing I will tell you, do you know if you have a high efficiency furnace?
We do.
Okay. Yes. Have you looked at the outside, the exhaust, and the air intake on the exterior of those? Okay. So a lot of times what happens in the high efficiency furnaces is you'll get snow, ice, bird's nest, bee nest, leaves. Okay. Get stuck in there. I always tell people, before you call anybody, just go look in there. Make sure it's open, because if that's not, if it can't breathe, it's going to shut down. Yeah. Take a look at that.
Shutting down, I don't know why, and rebooting by itself, and it's doing like 20 a day.
Yeah, then probably something plugged somewhere, or you got a bad computer chip that's and all of a sudden it rattles loose again, and now it stops. Okay. There's a lot that can go on with a furnace. It doesn't look like much because it's only yay big. Yeah. There's a lot of electronics and stuff like that in those. Yep. And even so, you just mentioned it's only 2 years old.
Yes.
Did you have your ducts cleaned when you built the house, or before you moved in?
I would guess so. Maybe. I don't know.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep. There's a little PSA for everybody. If you're a new home build, or you buy or build a new home, on plenty of construction sites where sometimes the floor registers will get used as garbage cans. And garbage and debris and construction debris gets pushed in there, or it falls in there, gets sucked in there. Yeah. That sometimes clog up your ducts.
Got it. I'll look into that too. Yes.
Yep. Look. Could be.
Yes. What's an old roof or a roof with a quick patch job?
So patch jobs are fine as long as you know what you're doing.
Yes. Don't DIY that.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, probably. That's a tough one. Because it only takes a little bit of water, and water is going to take the path of least resistance. So make sure you know what you're doing there. In a roof, as long as it's not leaking, you're fine. Yeah. No leak. Yes. Right. That's how they work, unfortunately. But have an old roof, make sure you're looking in your attic, or have somebody look in your attic, make sure it's not in.
Yeah. Got it. Okay. Oh, for an example, we had a leak coming in our kitchen. We were just standing and cooking, and I saw there's like a coming. Yep. Me and my husband were like, okay, what's that? And it just started increasing, and like the state is just coming from a different angle. We were like freaking out because it's a new home. Why is there a leak? We were thinking it could be snow, just or something was iced and now just becoming warmer and coming the water down. We went and looked into the attic, could not see anything. Not that we personally went, but we just went upstairs. And turns out there was a water leak from our shower in the primary bathroom that was leaking and coming all the way down in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting how all that goes. Like,
Yeah, and
we would have never imagined.
yeah, in a new construction, right? So again,
Coming that, actually, I have one more question.
Okay.
Would you recommend new construction having inspection as well?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I them not all the time, but I do plenty of them. I had one a week or two ago, and
For new construction?
yes.
Oh, wow.
And always think, hey, it's brand new construction, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's here, right? And there's still humans that are building this thing.
For sure.
It own a personal house. The house moved in, turned the furnace on, warmed everything up. Water starts coming. My door in the basement playing first night. I'm like, Dad, water's coming in. Oh boy, what's going on? Well, it ended up that they forgot to put one of the roof vents on, and snow was coming in. Now we turned the furnace on, it melted that snow and came through. But
yeah,
two-story house, like, where is this coming from? We're not
exactly.
flushing a toilet. There's all plumbing running all throughout your house. So it took a while for us to find it, but yeah, we find it. But no, getting back to new construction, again, it's the most expensive thing you're ever going to buy in your life.
Yeah, you should definitely get
I have
inspection.
not been in a house, new, old, whatever, that I haven't found something that should be repaired. And you're not going to find it now. You're going to find it when it's too late.
Yes,
and now there's major damage.
Expired, or
not to rip on builders, but once that 11-month warranty is up, they're done. Done. And I don't blame them. They can't stand behind it forever.
For sure.
But have come and take a look at it for a couple $100. Take a look at it.
For sure, I agree. Are inspectors really independent, or are they part of a bigger real estate game?
So there are home companies that have multi-inspector, they call them multi-inspector firms, right?
Okay.
That, 15, 20 inspectors.
Wow.
I'm by myself. I prefer that way. Don't want to worry about all the headaches and other people. If it's going to happen, I know I did it. I know who's responsible for it, and there's no finger pointing, or I'm not relying on somebody else to do their portion of it. But majority of what I see are independent guys, girls that home inspections. We have a lot of different organizations. There's ASHI, there's Anachi, there's all sorts of, can't think of the name of it, WAHI, that inspector organizations, but still all independents. We just go to I get an Internachi member. So I get a lot of my continuing education through Internachi. So going to meetings sometime twice a year, we'll have full day meetings where they bring in plumbers, electricians, all that other stuff, and they'll go through what's new in the industry, things like that. So kind of to learn, or to teach us what we should be looking for, type of deal. And we, a lot of it is bounce back. A lot of it is building our that, hey, I know if I have an electrical question, I have a couple electricians that I work with. I call them, hey, what is this? I don't know everything. I try to, but I don't know everything. Yeah. I'm like, hey, what is this? Yeah. Kind of that way. But generally, we're in, but we do belong to different organizations, but there's no tie to it. I mean, fees and things like that, but we're not linked together other than we go to meetings together.
Got it. There's a thought out there that AI or this new technology is going to take over realtors. So buying homes is all going to become online at some point. What is your take on that, and what do you think? How do you think it's going to affect your business?
So, like I mentioned before, there's no substitute for the human eye.
Agreed.
Some inspectors that use some AI stuff to write their reports.
Really?
Part of it is I'm old school, and it scares me a little bit. But I don't think you ever can completely get away from it. I just don't. A lot of online stuff and things like that right now, but I mean, you get that personal touch. It's wrong. Who do you call?
Exactly. AI?
Yeah, no. We're not answering the phone. Yeah. My side, you can look up stuff online and be like, hey, what is this? But to know every aspect of everything, you just can't. Yeah. I see how a computer can do it. Interesting. I mean, assist, but there's still going to be that human that I think is going to have to be involved.
Got it. Okay. Should be present for their own home inspection. And maybe bring family.
I get that all the time. I tell people it's a personal preference. Okay. To me, yes, show up. But I get guys like, hey, I got to work. I can't make it. Do I really need to show up? I'm going to give you a report that's going to show everything. But if you're on site, there's things that I will point out to you that aren't going to be in your report. Going through, I'm looking at gas shutoffs, electrical shutoffs, things like that.
So you can at least tell them as
Yeah.
well that, hey, this is your electrical
Yep.
shut off or gas
If
shut.
your water main, this is where your
Yeah.
water's coming in. If you ever have a, forbid you have a water leak, this is how you shut it off quick.
Yeah.
Easy things that we do if you're on sites. And then I always say the more eyes, the better. I mean, to a point where it can be a little distracting, but long. And one thing to look at a picture, and I'll give you the best explanation I can. But to me, I'm a visual learner myself. So if I have you there and it's like, hey, this is what I'm seeing, this is explain it to you. And then when you see it in the report, like, oh, now I know what Paul was talking about.
Yeah, no, I get it. What's one thing every homeowner should check monthly to avoid costly repairs?
Monthly. I think you should have a plan for your house.
Okay.
It's not just one thing, I don't think. I mean, make sure that you're changing your furnace filters. What else is in there? I mean, making sure you know this from just opening and closing your windows, doors, things like that, things that are going on. Go outside, take a look at your roof. I encourage anybody to climb up there.
Please don't.
Stay on the ground, but you can see probably 75% of your roof, right?
Yeah.
Look at it, make sure there's not any shingles blowing off. Nothing that looks, hey, why is there a crack in those shingles type of deal? Around just do a general walkthrough of your house. You know, are light fixtures that aren't working? Are the handles that are loose on your plumbing fixtures? Get in your basement. If your basement's not finished, look, is there any stains anywhere on the floor? Something dripping down here that, hey, I took a shower and I didn't go in the basement right away, but you'll water stain if there's something. So that, the schedule, maybe every 2-3 months, just kind of that on my own, because I'm always looking at things. That's just the way I'm built. But if you're not that way, just do a general walkthrough and just look at things. You go online and I have lists too with that. I can shoot people that, hey, here's some general maintenance things, fall, spring, all with the seasons, right? You should do. So make sure you're doing that maintenance. Again,
please do.
Catch it early, because if you don't, it's going to get expensive.
Yes, for sure. What are the 3 easy things new homeowners can do to keep their home in great shape?
Yeah, getting back to the maintenance, making sure mechanicals are not cheap, right? Your furnace is not cheap, your water heater is not cheap. People, you should flush your water heaters and things like that. I'm a little leery on that, because if you don't know what you're doing and you don't do it routinely, you cause more damage. So if you're not doing it and you had your water heater or whatever for 5 years, don't start doing it now. Those regular maintenance things, have your HVAC system tuned up every year. And just do your general maintenance. Do a walkthrough every, a little checklist of this is what I'm looking for. And if you don't know something, Google it, call somebody.
Google has every answer now. Yeah. If you could give homeowner and seller just one piece of advice, what would that be?
Get a home inspection. That's the easy one for me. I don't want to harp on that, but I just have horror stories of people who don't. It's like, hey, would you have caught this if you came through? Probably, maybe not. I see everything. Some is hidden, in a wall cavity, and there a pipe bursts in a wall cavity.
You can't see that.
I had no idea that was going to happen. But just be careful, right?
Any questions do you have for me?
Where do you see the real estate world going and the inspector world going?
Sky's the limit. It's a measure for it, but again, I agree that AI is not going to completely take over, because the human has everything, and we definitely want that human touch at here, and have that emotional moment, and somebody being a first-time home buyer and just seeing all that. So I completely understand on that piece of thing, and as long as this stuff is there, we're gonna need inspection. So
One question. You through this process, or the inspection process, buying selling process, what is your pet peeve from inspectors, and what would you like to see changed?
Well, part to the inspections I have been through, and with the inspectors I have worked with, they all do a great job, I feel.
Sometimes.
Good.
Good.
Yes. I haven't seen the horror stories yet.
Sure. Hopefully you never do.
But if I were super, it would be just more human, I would say. I feel like they're very, a home inspector, I'm just gonna come here, keep my straight face. I'm gonna like, I feel like them laughing or chit chatting, which I understand as well, because you're here to get your work done. You have somewhere else to be. but a little bit more friendliness would,
at ease, right? That was
yes.
that was the thought that came into my head, and that's I'm everybody's nervous, right?
Exactly.
What's going to
Yeah,
happen
yeah.
here, type of
It's just
deal. But hey, it is what it is, and
mhm.
I'll try, I'll be try to be educational as much as possible. But there's times where like, hey, why, joke around that, hey,
Yeah,
at my house or whatever, we would do it this way, type of deal,
for
and
sure.
kind of tone and just get people at ease, right?
For
Because
sure.
even for me, like we talked about before, when a lot of people show up for an inspection and they bring father-in-law, mother-in-law, aunts, uncles along, and
Please don't.
yeah, why they do it. I've been somewhere, I've look, I'm like, there's 8 cars out there.
What is going
At some point, that gets to be overkill.
For sure.
But come along, let's talk, let's what's all going on here, and just in the process,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Right.
Well, anything else?
I don't think so.
But it was my honor to have you
Thank you.
here. Thank you so much for coming over.
Yep.
And yeah.
Ever have questions, call, text, email me. That's what I always say.
And where
Even
can
if
our
it's yep.
audience find you? Tell
Yep.
us your phone number.
So phone number 262-665-9990. There's inspectthebest.com. I'm on social media. I'm Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I try to make some videos, lighthearted videos and things like that. So
Yeah.
look me up, and if you ever have questions, call, text, email me.
Yeah, call Larry. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Good.
Sounds